Hello, everyone, and welcome to Alice and Wrongful Conviction Land. Nice to have you with us. Let's have a look and see who's in chat. Hello, Darkside. Hello, Linda. Our William. Stuart. Thank you all very much for coming to join us. It was just a spur of the moment thing. Hi, Cherie. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Just a quick rough background for any newcomers. I've seen that Stuart says that he didn't know much about the case. This is, in my opinion, there is a wrongful conviction here in the UK, and it's Luke Mitchell and Jodie Jones. Luke Mitchell was convicted in 2005 of a murder of his girlfriend that happened in 2003. Hi, Jazz Naz. Thanks for joining me. The investigation and everything like that was a shambles from the beginning. I'd just like to say, for anyone who's in chat, I'm going to apologise now if I don't get your questions or be able to answer your questions tonight. I will go back over and I will go back in the chat and I will look at the questions, whatever ones I don't get tonight, and I will answer them, or anybody that's got me on Discord or anything like that can ask me questions in Discord. There is a room in Discord, in the Foul Play Discord, and that's the Luke and Jodie room, so you can also find information there. There is links and things like that in the description below. If you would like to get the book Innocents.Betrayed, you can get it from Amazon, or you can buy it direct from Dr. Sandra Lean herself, and you can get a wee message put in it from her for you, and that website is innocent.betrayed@gmail.com, and that'll give you a direct link to Sandra herself, and she will get your message and she will put it in, and then she will post the book to you. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and just break down the case as much as I can. For Stuart, it happened here in 2003, and you will see, if you keep watching the videos. Is this another case of tunnel vision, Alice? Well, yes, tunnel vision, Stuart. Incompetence, mishandling information as well. Jodie was found at 11:30 at night. She was also left out in the rain with no protection over her, no protection of the scene or anything like that, for hours and hours until the next day morning, because the coroner couldn't get over the wall. But I will get to those things. Oh, Monica Pollock. Hi, Mum. Everyone in chat, Monica Pollock is my mum. So, hiya, Mum. Thanks for joining. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and break down the book in some ways, for you, for those who don't have it, and everything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the agreed facts, the facts that are agreed about the case. And I'm going to try and show you. Yeah, Jasna, it's on my best behaviour. No, my mommy's just as bad as me. Who do you think I learnt it for? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and go through the agreed facts and everything like that, and then kind of show you where things started changing, stories started changing, things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and share my screen with you all. Do that. Share screen. Share screen. And I want to do that. No, is it that one? Yep, it's that one. Let's see, I'll get there in the end. There we go. Now, I hope you can all see that and see it okay. Give me a wee second. Let's try it this way. That's better for you. There we go. So, innocence should mean something. People are blind to the truth. It's time to open their eyes and show them the truth. Because there's still a lot of people believe Luke's guilty, especially around the area and everything like that. So I would just like to break it down a wee bit for you, to be able to let you understand how things changed, that police were, let's just say, they weren't writing down information properly, or they were making assumptions. I've got about 20 slides here, but I don't think I'll go that long tonight. Just want to give you a rough idea of how things sort of changed and stuff like that. But this tonight is just try to give you the facts and the agreed facts that has been done in the case. So the first one is Luke. That's wrong. Sorry, I need to change that. I need to edit that and change that, because that is should be 2005, not 2004. The murder happened in 2003. Luke Mitchell was a 14-year-old boy at the time of the murder. The victim was JODI Jones, who was also 14-year-old and was the girlfriend of Luke at the time. There was none of Luke's DNA at the scene, on the body, or anything like that. So the next one is Monday the 30th of June 2003 at 4:34 p.m. JODI uses her mum's phone, Judith, because her phone was broken, to text Luke to ask Luke if he wanted to meet up that evening. So Luke texts back to say that he would be out after his dinner and asked JODI to come to the New Battle area to hang out up there. At 4:38 p.m, JODI texts Luke back to say she would be down later that evening. Now, every weekday apart from a Tuesday, Luke was the one that cooked the dinner, because his mum worked, his brother worked, and he was the first one home for school, basically. So he would cook the dinner between 5 and 5:30. and normally he would be out and about between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. So at 4:38 p.m, JODI texts Luke back to say that she would be down that evening. Now, normally they would go to a friend's in Woodburn, or they would hang about up at the Easterseas End, but one of their friends that they normally went to see was on holiday at the time, so they decided that they would stay about their own areas. So JODI knew that Luke would not be out until at least after 5:30. So on the weekdays, Luke always cooked dinner for his mum Corinne and his brother Shane, as he was the first one home, and was rarely out before 5:30, and met up with his friends around about 6 o'clock. At 5:32 p.m, Luke calls JODI's home landline to let her know he was out, sitting on the wall at the end of the street, but the call never connected. So he rang back at 5:40 p.m. This time the call connected, and JODI's dad, stepdad, Alan Ovens, answers, telling Luke JODI has left. So Luke is sitting at the end of the street waiting for JODI to turn up. By 7 o'clock, JODI's not there. So Luke calls his mum and says, look, if JODI turns up, tell her I'm going to be over at the Abbey to meet us over there. And that's exactly what he done. So I did that one. The next one. So JODI doesn't turn up. Luke goes home between 9 and 20 past 9. He goes home and he's in the house. And at 10:38 p.m, while walking the dog, he gets a text message that's meant for JODI, saying, right, Toad, 2 weeks grounding, say bye to Luke. So obviously, Luke phones Judith right away and says, look, she's not here. I've no seen her. She never turned up. So hangs up the phone. 7 minutes later, at 10:49 p.m, Judith calls Luke back, which is JODI's mum. Calls Luke back in tears, saying JODI was nowhere to be found and she was calling the police. So Luke then offers to walk up Rowandyke's path to see if we can see JODI, and if he did not see her, he would go to the house. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on the chat as well. So at 10 minutes later, at 10:59 p.m, Judith calls Luke again, and he told her he was at the entrance to Rowandyke's path with the dog. So as Luke is making his way up the path to look for JODI with Maya, the dog, he didn't see her, so he kept going. But about 3/4 of the way down the path, he seen some shadowy figures with his torchlight. And when he got a bit closer, he'd seen that there was 3 people there, that it was the search trio. It was the search trio was JODI's granny, Alice Walker, JODI's 17-year-old sister, Janine, and Janine's boyfriend, Stephen Kelly. Alice asked, Luke, did you see anything on the way up? Luke says, no, the granny suggests, right, okay, let's go back up and we'll have another look. Luke asks if anybody has anything belonging to Jodi, as Maya was being trained as a tracking dog, and they said no. So what Luke did was Luke put Maya into tracking mode anyway. So what happened there was, so Luke decided to put Maya in tracking mode by telling her, seek Jodi, Jodi's hiding, find Jodi. Now these were all command words that the dog understood, and that the dog knew, right, when these words were said, that was her. She was in working mode, basically, in a sense. So the dog's in working mode. Oh, dear me. So, and Maya was being trained by a highly skilled ex-military dog trainer with 25 years experience. And so she knew the commands because that was the words that she got told with the further training, you know, seek, find, these kind of things. And she knew Jodi. So when she's told, seek, find Jodi, Jodi's hiding, then that puts the dog into training mode. So the trainer himself said that while he was training Maya, that her skills were exceptional, but he was never called to testify. Now, surely if somebody was an expert and was training this dog, then surely he would have been called to the site to give evidence. You know, were you training the dog? Was the dog being trained, and sort of thing, and get that information? But that never happened. So Luke and the trio walk slowly back down the path with Maya in tracking mode, to look for the dog. Now I've heard, and I've spoken to people and everything like that, and they say, well, you know, why was she in tracking mode in the first place? Because in my opinion, and with everybody, these are just my opinions, but in my opinion, he was quickly going from his end of the path to her end of the path to see if she was there, and then he was going to Jodi's house. So there would have been no reason, in my mind anyway, there would be no reason to put her in tracking mode at that sense. Because as far as he was concerned, he was going to go up that side of the path to look for Jodi, and then if he didn't see her on that side of the path, he was going to head to Jodi's mum's house and then let the adults decide what was happening. Because remember, he was only a 14-year-old child at the time, you know. So Luke and the trio walk slowly back down the path with Maya in tracking mode. And while walking up the path with Maya, her nose is down, sniffing. She seemed to be interested in something at the wall. So Luke climbed over the weeds and everything like that was there. And had to look. There was like a dent in the wall, and I'm sure I've got the video. I have got a video. I've definitely got a video. I've just not got it sorted or that yet. Me and Disco Pervert actually went to the scene, just to give you a rough idea of wall and the V-brake and everything like that. I will get that done and I will get it posted, but for now, I'll just try and explain it as much as I can. So Maya reacted to something, indicated that there was something there. So Luke went over, he climbed over the weeds, because when you see it, it's like a dark path, but there's like weeds and overgrown and stuff like that at the sides. So the wall, he looked over the wall. There was a small break in the wall, so he looked over, shone his torch in the wall, over the wall, and he never seen anything. A couple of times, Maya appeared to follow a scent into the crop field to the left, and Luke followed, but they never seen anything. So not only did she react at the wall, she reacted gone into the cornfield that was on the left-hand side, going up the wall. Now, I've seen there, I've been there, and I've seen that field, and yeah, somebody could have went through that field, but when you get to the other end of that field, you're coming into a main road and a housing scheme and everything like that. So, in my opinion, they still would have been seen, whoever it was. So, a couple of times, Maya appeared to follow the scent into the crop field to the left, and Luke followed, but he didn't see anything. So, they keep going. They keep walking down the path. And further down the path, just a few meters, so you're talking maybe a few steps past the path, just past the V-brake in the wall, gone towards the new battle area, Maya reacted, and she went to the wall. She put her front paws up in the wall, and she was sniffing the air, and she was standing on her hind legs, and she was sniffing the air. And to Luke, that was a sign. That was Maya telling him, look, there's something here. So Luke recognises the signs that Maya was doing as an alert to something. So he doubled back to the V-brake. He handed the dog's lead to Alice, which was JODI's granny, as she had fallen behind a wee bit. So he handed her the lead and went to see what Maya was reacting to. So that was when Luke then climbed over the V-brake into the woodland strip on the other side, and he turned left towards the area where Maya had been alerted towards. So Janine and Stephen continued down the path at the same time. At this time, they were brought back to the V-brake by the sound of Luke's voice from the other side of the wall saying, there's something here. So that's what made them go. Luke said, I think there is something here. So then Stephen Kelly then jumps over the wall, jumps over the V-brake in the wall to the woodland area to have a look, and comes back a few minutes later, and he's distressed, naturally, you know. Alice demands to be helped over the wall as she wants to see for herself, so the boys help her over the wall. Stephen returns to the path side to stand with Janine. So at this time, it's only Luke and Alice that's on that side of the wall. Luke waits at the woodland strip and waiting for Alice beside the V-brake, and Janine hears her granny screaming and starts screaming herself. Now that's only natural. I mean, it's understandable. Anybody would do that. that was fine. That was exactly what had happened. So Luke calls 999 at 11:35 p.m. telling the operator they have found something to send the police right away. Now, my American pals will love that. Yes, I have put police. I write it how I say it. So he phones the police and he tells them they've found something, so they've got to send somebody right away. After the boys help Alice back over the wall to the path side, Luke was making his way back over the wall to the path side, and his phone rings. The time was 11:38 p.m. The police phone him back asking where exactly he was. Now that gets explained a wee bit later, a wee bit more later on. As I says, I'm only going to do a few of the slides because I haven't actually completed them. I just wanted to actually do something because it's wrongful conviction day today, and in my opinion, he was wrongfully convicted. So after the boys help Alice back over the wall, the phone call is at 11:38 p.m. The police are phoning him back to find out exactly where he was. At 11:55 p.m., just over an hour since Luke left his home to find JODI, the first police officer on the scene radioed in to say a body had been found. So Luke and the search trio found her at 11:35 p.m. But by the time the police actually got there and verified that there was something there, at 11:55, that's when it all started getting put onto record, and everything like that. Was when the police made their initial phone call to say that a body had been found. Now, all members of the search party were taken to a car park at the back of New Battle High School. By the time that they got from Rowan-Dykes Path to the back of the high school, there were a number of police motors had turned up, and two of JODI's aunties had turned up as well. Luke and Stephen sat on the pavement, had a fag, when a police officer came and told Luke to get into the back of the police motor with the dog. The other three members of the search party, Alice, Janine and Stephen, went and joined the aunts and JODI's mum and her stepdad and her brother because they had arrived by that time. 10 minutes later, Luke was took away. Now, why was Luke the only one that was took away? That's what bothers me. Why were the other ones allowed to mingle, even though they were over the wall and they could have had part of the crime scene on them, for all they knew? So Luke's mum was frantically trying to contact him. She'd phoned him and everything like that. Now, normally he would have been at JODI's mum's house by then and would have phoned his mum and said, look, I'm here, this is what's happening, or at least gave her a phone call one way or the other to say, right, I'm here, I'm on my way back down the road or whatever. But this never happened. So Corey was frantic about trying to find him. And because he should have been at JODI's house by then. So she called his mobile and went to answer the call. Luke went to answer the phone in the back of the police motor, and the police took his phone off him and switched it off. What? So Corrine tried again to phone him, but never got through. So she sent a text message. Right, you tell me right now what's going on. I'm coming up to get you. Like any other mother, like a mother would. I would have done that with my son as well. 5 minutes later, the police turns the phone back on and told Luke to call his mum. When Corinne answered, the police took the phone back off of Luke and told her to head to the police station and just hung up. What? You know what I mean? They just hung up. So, like any other mother would, Corinne put her shoes on, her jacket on, and she started running to the police station. But as she was making her way up New Battle Road, police motor pulled up beside her with Luke in the back of the motor. They said a few things, but Corinne couldn't make out everything that was being said. The only words that she did hear was JODI was dead. That much so that she repeated it. JODI's dead, you know, like we all probably would. And then they just drive off. They drive off with Luke in the back of the car. No giving her a lift or nothing. They wouldn't let her in the back of the motor, and they stated it was for contamination issues. Then they drove off with her 14-year-old in the back of the motor. By the time she got to the police station, Luke had been stripped to his clothes and was in a forensic suit. And people say that there was no difference in how people got treated in this case. Bullshit. It shows you right there. There was 4 of them in that search party, but only the child out of the search party is the one that got huckled and taken to the police station. Really? Really? I mean, it's just beggars belief. It really is beggars belief. It is pure tunnel vision. Oh, hiya, Becky. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining me. So, in a way, the question is why, within less than half an hour of confirmation that a body had been found, was the decision taken that Luke was to be separated from the others and taken away to the police station when only a brief statement was given? The only information that the police had at that time was that they found a body and that there was 4 of them there. That was it, basically. Apart from the missing person's phone call that Judith made. So he was the only one that was taken away. Excuse me. The 3 family members were allowed to mingle with other members of the party, other members of the family, before any statements were taken or any forensic examination was done of their clays. Luke, Alice, and Stephen all went over the wall. All of them. So, by rights, they should have got separated by everybody. Their clays should have been took off them as well, in my opinion, because they were over that wall. They were in the crime scene. So they should have, in my opinion, they should have been separated as well. So that their clays, their shoes, their trousers, their jacket or whatever could have been took, because you didn't know if there was blood on there, if there was hair on there, if there was any other evidence that could have been recovered was on their clays. So the boys froze in their tracks on seeing the body, but Alice, Jodi's granny, went right up and touched her. She touched the body. Now, I'm not saying that's a completely bad thing. I mean, it is a bad thing, but any parent, grandparent, whatever, probably would have done exactly the same thing. They probably would have done exactly the same thing. I probably would have done exactly the same thing. Oh my God, that's my child there. You know what I mean? So I can understand the reaction of the granny doing that. It's fair enough. But her closing that should have been took, in my opinion. The earlier accounts that were being said was that she actually cradled the body. But by the time court and everything like that came, the later accounts was that she just touched the body, the forehead. But still, immaterial. In my opinion, the people that went over and were round and in the vicinity of Jodi's body, all of them should have had their clothes examined. They should have. And it wasn't done. And that was down to the police, in my opinion. The police screwed up royally with that. Now, the police logged their arrival at Judith's home at 11:20 p.m. to take the missing persons report. While they were taking the details down, Judith was expecting Luke to walk through the door at any time, with or without Jodi. Now that's true, because at 10:59, Luke told her that he was at the new battle entrance of the path. And it would only take Luke 20 minutes or something to walk from his end to the other to get to Jodi's. So really, she would have been expecting Luke to walk through the door at any time. So because the call was made earlier, Judith knew Luke was at the new battle entrance at 11 o'clock. As I says, the journey would only take Luke 20 minutes. But the police arrived at 20 past 11. And at 25 past 11, 5 minutes later, the police are leaving Judith's house to go and look for Jodi, not knowing, the police not knowing that Luke could walk through the door any minute. So, I've lost my place now. Yeah, done that one. Done that one. Done that one. There we go. There we go. Back to where I was now. Right. So, the police didn't even know where the path was. And according to Judith, she told the police exactly where Luke was, what path he was on and everything like that. But the police didn't have a clue where the path was. Because instead of walking from Jodi's house to the path, they got in their motor and they went, aye William, it's brew, it's a bottle of steel forehead. Instead of just walking down to the path, the police jump in their motor and they go to the car park at the school and they walk through there down Lady Path to the Backery Drive, heading in the opposite direction away from Rowan Dyke's path. So they're not even going in the right direction when they turn up. and away from the new battle area. They walked right past the entrance to the path, no even checking to see if Luke or anybody else was there, which meant the police didn't even know where the path was. But Judith was adamant that she told them exactly what path Luke was on and where it was. So we're nearly coming to the end of what I've got done so far. So it's somewhat surprising to realise that the only point at which the police asked if Luke had seen Jodie was the very first call from the officers who took the missing persons details from Judith. Arriving at the waste ground at the back of the Reed Drive and failing to locate Luke or Jodie, on the police on the ground called the control operator saying they had a number and a name, and it was Luke. Even though the granny had a phone and Janine had a phone as well. So why were they not tell that the other three were with them and they had a phone or not? The police asked the operator to call the number and find out where Luke was, and to see if he was with Jodie. This request resulted in the operator's call to Luke at 11:38 p.m. Now, that was when I'd said earlier that Luke was going back over the wall after the granny had been over and everything like that. Luke was going back over the wall when he got a phone call back for the police. That was because the police didn't have a fucking clue where he was. You know what I mean? They had no clue whatsoever where he was. The question about Jodie was never answered because the control operator failed to pass on the information, and it was never asked again. It would later emerge that the only contact number the police had was Luke's, even though Alice and Janine both had a phone with them. And worse still was that one of the two police responding to the missing persons report call noted in a statement that he was of the impression that Jodie left home with her boyfriend at around 5 p.m. that evening. So it's no surprise that he was suspicious, especially if he was already under the impression. And that's it, guys. Sorry, that's all I've got up to in part one. So, I mean, if he's already under the impression that Luke that Luke was the only one that was there that had a phone, no wonder he's thinking that Luke might have done it. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. In my opinion, that even the police are making assumptions. You know what I mean? Because that's all it was. That was an assumption. That wasn't fact. You know what I mean? That wasn't. And they even report that at 5 o'clock. So how did it get that the police are writing down 5 o'clock that she left the house, but then later on it gets changed to that she left at 4:50 p.m. Where's the 10-minute difference came from? The 10-minute differences came from the witnesses, because the witness statements changed their time and everything like that as well. So I want to try and do that. I want to try and break the case down for you as best I can, for you to understand just what the agreed facts were, like what everybody agrees has happened and everything like that, And then I want to show you just how much everything changes between the statements of witnesses, the statements of the family, and the major assumptions of the police as well. I mean, that's what this case has been. It's been assumptions after assumptions, bad investigating, and it's just, I can't get my head around it. I really can't get my head around it, just how badly botched this investigation was and is. So I'm going to go back and just have a wee look and see. It depends sometimes if it's preferable to take a plea deal or over going to trial because of the defence. Thankfully not a choice I've faced. Right, I'm going to have to go back and read over the thing, because that's what distracted me the last time. Was the chat. It distracted me the last time, so I'm going to leave that. That's one thing that really bugs me. That's one thing that really bugs me. Their later statements were taken as more true than earlier statements. Yes, Sherry, exactly. It was okay for the family to change their statements willy-nilly, you know. But when Shane forgot some information and tried to go back the next day, a couple of days later, to tell them, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to tell you this. This was part of my day, because that's what they were asking. Was you know, what was the 30th of June like for you? What did you do? What was your normal day? But a pal had reminded him that he had went to his house before he went home for work, and then Luke burnt the dinner. He forgot about that, and it wasn't until he was talking to his man that saying, well, you know, they asked me what I done, and they got on to the fact of the dinner, and his man reminded him, Christ, that was the night Luke burnt your pies, remember? And he was like, oh, fuck, aye, so it was. So he went back to the police station and says to them, look, I forgot to tell you something. I want to amend my statement and put something else in, because I've remembered what I was doing on the 30th of June. And it took the police another 3 or 4 days. They tell them, sorry, we've not got anybody to take your statement. So it took them another 3 or 4 days to go out and speak to Shane to get that statement. But oh no, that's it. Shane's changed his statement. Shane's lied. You know what I mean? But the whole trio, the granny, Janine, and Stephen Kelly, all said in the beginning that Maya reacted to the wall. Maya was the one that alerted them to the wall, and then Luke went over the wall. But by the time it came to court, oh no, Maya never reacted to the wall. Luke just went to the wall and just climbed over the wall and said, oh, there's something there. Now that is a lot of rubbish. Yeah, listen to the book is the picture. No, I'll kindly disagree with you. You're doing well. Yes. Thanks, William. I know you kindly disagree. But thank you for doing it kindly, I must say. But yeah, so it's all right for other people. And it wasn't just the family that changed their statements either. It was Andrea Bryson and everything like that. You know what I mean? They changed the time from one time to another time. And then Fleming and Walsh, they they said that they didn't see his face or anything like that in their first statements. But by the time they got to court, Luke just went, and moved his hair out his face so that they could kindly see his face in the rear view mirror. You know? It's like, come on, you're having a fucking laugh, ain't you? But it's all right for them to change their statements. It's only because your mom's here. You better be on your best behaviour, William. I'll set my wee ma on you. She'll get you tell. But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I think it's going to take me quite a few videos to actually get through it and get it done. But I'm going to do it because I think it's important. And I think people should know. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining me. What's that? I know what Glaswegian moths are like. There you go, William. So that's why I want to try and break it down, and I want to try and explain it a bit more so that other people can understand that, yeah, there might have been some changes in statements and everything like that, but there was nothing on Luke's part, on Shane's part. It was nothing significant that the statements changed, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He gave them a statement. Shane gave them a statement. He couldn't remember everything that happened on that day. So when he did remember what happened on that day, or he got reminded what happened on that day, they went back to the police station and tried to change them, tried to say to them, look, I forgot something. Can you? So if that's him changing his statement, then yeah, he changed his statement to the first statement that he made to add on. But the other people that have made statements changed their statements completely. You know what I mean? So it's all right for one lot to change their statements, but it's not all right for the other lot to change their statements. And that's what I've heard a lot of the time. And yeah, this is a William favourite. But you can't go back and blame the family. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You fucking can do that. Because why are they changing their statements? Why are they saying 1 minute all on the same page as Luke and everything else, and then later on, in between them doing their first statement and it going to court, that their statements change? So yes, I can turn around and say, well, what about their statements? Because it's a point of fact. That's why you can turn around and say, well, what about their statements? And they were allowed to talk to other people and everything like that as well. I mean, it's just, their Clay's one they took for over a week after it happening. So, and I'll get to that. I will get to that eventually. I will get to that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the family could have been, the Polars could have been feeding them and all. You know, the Polars could have, and they probably did. Couch Gamer, Couch Gamer HD, thanks for joining. Is it likely that JODI was killed by a member of her own family? That I do not know. That I cannot answer. I cannot answer. I cannot answer who killed JODI, to be honest with you. And for me to actually turn around and say, oh, so and so or so and so or so and so or so and so, then that's no good, because I've got no proof. But everything that I have looked into, everything I've read, everything that I've looked into, there is no way that Luke did it either. So that's what I can say. Hi Moss, thanks for joining. Nice to see you, pal. Long time no see. So I tend to agree. A brother who had issues, possibly, allegedly, in my opinion, didn't come from me. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. Like a lot of people have speculated who was who and stuff like that. All I know is, for maybe no certainty, but for fact, on what I have read and picked up, and I have actually spoken to people who live in the area, who were about at the time that this was happening, went to the same schools, things like that. That these people that give me the information, I don't think that they would lie, you know, about it. But there is more evidence that, in my opinion anyway, there is more evidence that somebody else committed this crime on JODI, but not Luke. Not Luke. I mean, you've just got to take, for instance, there was five DNA profiles found on and around Jodi's body. One of them came back as a full profile, which was of Stephen Kelly, but none of it was Luke's. None of it. There was a partial DNA, and a lot of people say it was Luke's. It was Luke's DNA. Now, there was agreement made in court that there was Luke's DNA found on Jodi's bra, and there was Jodi's DNA found on a pair of Luke's trousers that hadn't been washed and that he'd worn at his dad's the weekend before. So they were still in a bag, and they hadn't been washed yet by the time they came to search the house. So it was agreed by the defence and the prosecution that that DNA wasn't relevant enough because they were in a romantic relationship. They were in an intimate relationship. So they decided that that wasn't going to be put in. But the DNA that was found was a partial DNA to Luke, but it also could have been another 2 or 3/4 of the population. So make of that what you will, you know. It's just, It's just madness. It really is madness that things can be said, things can be changed, and everything like that. But when it comes to the family, trying to amend statements, then that's it. They're lying. They're trying to cover up for them. You know what I mean? And it's no right. Yes, he's a Denny suspect, or whatever the Scottish equivalent is. Yes, Cherie, I completely agree with that. Yes. I'm not sure what the Scottish term is. I think it's just a suspect here. He's another suspect. Let me just see if I can go back so that I'm not going back too far. I tend to agree. A brother who had issues, possibly, allegedly, in my opinion, don't come for me. Well, I mean, there was. I mean, the brother. We know that the brother had issues, mental health issues, and there was reasons for now, William, I don't agree with you. I'm going to have to kindly disagree with you, William, that he was well alibied. Not in my opinion, he wasn't. In my opinion, he didn't have an alibi, because Judith and that left the house just before 6 o'clock. And Joseph was in his room. Apparently, he was in his room. But they left to go to the cemetery. So they did. They left to go to the cemetery. And they came back. And when they came back, nobody checked to see if Joseph was in that room. Yes, he was in the room at 10:30 or whatever time it was that they said that JODI was missing. But at 10:30, JODI wasn't even reported missing by then. So, to me, they don't know if he was in his room all that length of time. Just because he was there when they left doesn't mean to say he didn't leave and come back again. I mean, they wouldn't know because they weren't there. So I don't think we can honestly say that he had a tighter alibi. I really don't. But I'm not wanting to get into assumptions or anything like that. I mean, things like that come out in the book and the papers and everything like that as well. So we don't know. None of them know if he was in that room, or when he left that room, if he left that room or whatever. And that's what we'll say on that. Yes, you're right. They were out of the house between 6 and 7 p.m. Alan Ovens checked on him. But Alan Ovens was with Judith. So how could he check on him? Or are you meaning after they got back, he checked on him? Plus, no one or CCTV saw him on the streets that night. Not one person. But how do we know that? How do we know that nobody seen him on the street that night? We don't. Because it was never asked. For what I can tell, it was never asked. I may be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I will put my hands up and I'll say I'm wrong, and I'm sure somebody will come back and correct me. But Luke wasn't seen. You know what I mean? So they say. But to me, I mean, honestly, William, I've not heard that they checked on him at 7 o'clock. As far as I'm aware, he was in his room and that was that, and then he got they went to his room at 10:30, or what, if I remember right, it was 10:30. But that is what I don't understand. If it was 10:30, how could it be 10:30 when JODI wasn't missing until 25 to 11? When Judith is sending the message to Luke saying, "Get your arse home now, lady, right, Todd, say bye to Luke, it's time you're grounded for another 2 weeks." And that wasn't until 10:38 p.m, if I remember right. Yeah, 10:38 p.m, Judith texts Luke, "Right, Todd, 2 weeks grounding." At 10:38 p.m. So how are they going to his room at 10:30 to say that JODI's missing when JODI wasn't even reported missing until 10:38, until she got that phone call back to Luke to say, "Well, wait a minute, JODI never turned up." So it's a funny one. I'm going to switch my camera off now because I'm going to have a smoke. But I mean, it's a funny one and it's complicated. I think it is anyway. So that's why I want to try and break it down into different sections, into different segments, so that people can see where the differences were, where the statements changed, and they can make up their own mind. I mean, what I'm saying on these videos is my opinion and my opinion alone. I'm not an expert. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a police. I'm just an average Joe who's into wrongful convictions. And as far as I'm concerned, in my eyes, this is a wrongful conviction. It is. And I know a lot of people don't agree. And I know William kindly disagrees. But that's okay. I mean, everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. Well, they certainly are. I just don't have to agree with that opinion. And I don't. There is just too much ifs, maybes, and buts about the whole case that there is reasonable doubt. And if there's reasonable doubt, then a conviction shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't. So all I'm trying to do is, all I want to do is put the information out there and let you decide for yourself what you think might have happened. Whether you think it's wrongful, he's wrongfully convicted, or he's completely guilty. That's entirely your opinions. I could only hope, Dark Side. I could only hope. Really, I could only hope. I'm hoping to get there eventually. Maybe even just a wee smidge. But I can't see it happening. I think William's set in his ways. But I would like to hope a wee smidge. I'd like to hope that's going to happen. So Okay, son. What's that? Sure he didn't get a fair trial either. An independent review needs to be done. Yes, I completely agree with that. An independent review definitely needs to be done, because there is just too much doubt in this conviction. And I honestly and truly don't understand how the jury came to the decisions that they did. To be honest, nope. There we go, dark side. But all I can do is try. I mean, that's it. That's the best I can do, is try. And if I don't change anybody's mind, fair enough. If I do change people's mind, fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. That's more eyes on the case, more people shouting about it, more people saying his name, getting it out there. With today being Wrongful Conviction Day, I would just like to say as well that I stand by Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey as being innocent, and I also stand by Daniel Holtzclaw for being innocent as well. And I will eventually get to Daniel and Daniel's case, because I think that's an important case that needs to be told about, needs to be spoken about, because there's just not enough people that are taking it seriously, I don't think. And that's one major part of the corruption. It's corruption and negligence on police, completely. So I think I am going to leave it there for tonight. As it says, thank you everyone for joining me. BB, thank you so much for coming in to join me. Hopefully I will get another video done soon. I'm going to try and edit the video that me and Disco Pervert done from Foul Play when we went to the scene. I made a few mistakes with some of the things that I was saying in the video, so I'm going to take the audio out, and I think I'll just talk over it and explain what's happening, what we're doing, and everything like that way. So I will say good night for now. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like what you've seen, please hit the subscribe, like, share. Jinxie is doing a live. Jinxie is going live next. Oh, right, okay. Please, everyone, jump over, go and tune in to Mystical Jinx YouTube. Can't wait to see that. I will be over there as soon as I can. And I would just like to say thank you very, very much. Hit that button if you think he's guilty. I'll kick your arse, William. Hit that button if you think he's guilty. A kick in the arse is what you'll get, boyo. So, thank you, everyone. I shall see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.